Buying gyms, buying out partners, and buying more gyms. Mike Turnquist has done it all, and he'll tell his tale on this edition of Two Brain Radio. I'm Mike Workington, your host. Please hit subscribe and like wherever you are watching or listening. Mike Turnquist is in the land of wineries and olive groves, Paso Robles on the Central California coast, which is beautiful. He's had an interesting path to running two gyms, and we're going to hash it out today. So, Mike, how are you doing?
I'm having a great day, Mike. Thanks so much for having me on.
I'm good. Where are you right now? It looks like you got some work going on.
I am in our newest gym, the Atascadero CrossFit, and which is just finishing up the construction, waiting on the rogue truck. It should be on its way here really soon. Then we can load it up with beautiful, beautiful equipment and get some fitness going.
Yeah, it's gonna be Christmas in March for you when that truck rolls up. What does Atascadero mean?
Atascadero means the translation is mud hole.
I love it.
It's really interesting. It's a town. I grew up here, so I'm allowed to make fun of it. Yeah, little small town, about 30,000 people, and means mud hole.
It's funny because I saw somewhere the affiliate name popped up and I was doing some Googling, and I remember someone saying, "Do they know what that means?" And I was like, "They do."
We do. Yes, we do.
All right. So let's talk about this. I want to talk about your current situation. How many gyms do you own, and when did you begin ownership of each one? Bring me up to speed.
Yeah. Currently own two CrossFit affiliates, and it's always been a dream to own a gym. I've always just been fascinated by it. And when I got into it, it was just like, okay, let's spread this out. Let's leverage it and see, grow this company and open up multiple locations. Because what that can, in theory, do is double, triple, quadruple, your revenue. And the goal is not to grind for the rest of my life, but to own some businesses. So way back, been in the real estate sales, residential sales for over 20 years, got into that really, really young, and found CrossFit in 2011 at a Globo gym.
Hey, old school. Nice.
So this was my 10th open that we did, and it's come a long way. So just been, seeing what fitness and health has done for me personally. I used to be well north of 300 pounds and just.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just, and was one of the people that just said, "Oh, it runs in my family. My whole family's overweight and blah, this is just my destiny." But it's absolutely not true.
Wow.
And I, just fell in love with CrossFit. And I've always been an entrepreneur, always been a business owner. I couldn't tell you the last time I had a, regular day job. It's been decades. So, when I started, I helped my friend open CrossFit Ergo. We went from the Globo gym, they opened their own gym, and then we moved over to CrossFit Inferno. And then
Bill Grundler's place, eh? Bill's a buddy. Yeah.
I love Bill.
Good guy.
So it was a really good start, and my buddy decided to open his own gym, and I'm like, "Hey, I'll help you out. You can't barely turn your computer on. Let me, let me help you out with membership software and marketing and little things there." And it was a real, we just did it as a trade. I got a key to the gym and, pretty typical stuff.
T-shirts and protein supplements.
Yeah, he went along and decided to go a different route. And one of the coaches was like, "Hey, we're kind of afraid that we're going to come in Monday morning and the place is going to be empty, like no email, no nothing." And luckily that didn't happen. But one of the coaches kind of twisted my arm and was like, "Hey, you've been talking about this. You'd be great. Buy the gym, please."
Okay.
We love it here. We want, So after a 5:30 a.m. class, another member hit me up and said, "Hey, I think I heard you're looking to buy Ergo, CrossFit Ergo." And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "You need a partner." And I'm like, "Well, you got money. Let's go." Right. So his name was Steven. And to be honest with you, CrossFit Ergo would not exist without him. It was a really good partnership.
Nice.
We had, as far as partnerships goes, he brought in a lot of capital. a lot of insight to business. He's owns a couple of really high-end businesses himself, and I ran the operations. And it went like that really, really well. We didn't step on each other's toes. We just, got Ergo to go where it was going to go. But the plan was, he was a short-term part of it. He knew it was my passion, and owning a gym wasn't really in his long-term vision, but he didn't want it to go away either. So ended up buying him out. It's coming up on a year that happened. And I kind of understood that I'm going to need some help. So a few months before that, I secretly hired Two Brain Business as a mentor, and I paid for it out of my pocket. I didn't run it through the gym. I didn't want to have to explain that big cost to him.
That's fair, but I'll still slap your hand for not putting it through the business.
Yeah. So he wouldn't have seen it as an investment like I did.
That's fair, because he's getting out too. I get it.
Yeah. And it all happened all at the same time. I just, my mentor, Greg, another guy that if he wasn't in my life, CrossFit Ergo wouldn't exist.
This is Greg Stroud, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
And the great thing about Greg is, when I was, watching the videos of who should you pick for your mentor, Greg happened to be the first one I watched. And I'm like, that's my guy. And I watched 2 other ones, and I just was like, nope, that is my guy. You just know.
That's great.
And, during ramp up, it's like he saw me, and he's like, if I put too much plate on your plate, you're going to try to do everything and you'll get nothing done. And he saved me from overwhelm, and he just had me little baby steps along the way. And we ended up going from 9,000 in revenue, which was losing money at the time. And then late last year, we hit 30,000. So in the course of 1 year, we had tripled revenue. Now, I wish it had stayed, at that linear path, but
a bit of COVID going on there too, and some other strange things in that period.
Yeah. So, we ended up tripling revenue, and it's just been fantastic. The members are loving it. Everybody's loving it. And, I started paying myself,
Hey, congrats. That's it.
Following the profit first model, which, really works. It sounds weird at first. But when you start breaking it up, and my bank tried to talk me out of it, they're like, you don't need all these. And I was like, nope, I'm going to do it. And it just had a really good trajectory. So
I'm going to interrupt you, Mike, for 1 sec. Listeners, if you want to see the Profit First model, we have John Briggs in our show archives. Profit First for Micro Gyms is designed to teach you what this is. The short version is you pay yourself first before the gym eats up your expenses. Then you push yourself to create the money you need to get the gym to cover its sheet. All right, go ahead, Mike. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to make sure people know what they're getting into.
Yeah. Owning a gym is a passion project for most people, but you're not going to do it for free forever.
Yep.
You won't. You will catch up, and it'll hit you like a ton of bricks. So getting paid every single month is really cool.
That's awesome. Especially when you create it yourself, right?
Yeah. So to back up, when I first started with Greg, I said, hey, Greg, I don't know if it was Jason Khalipa or whatever, just like owning all these other gyms. I was like, I want to expand. I want to, get things going and then move on. And so owning multiple gyms was always part of the plan. So now the story of Atascadero CrossFit. Atascadero CrossFit was opened up by another Inferno coach, Dustin and Curtis. They opened this up in 2012, I believe, again, as a passion project.
Time, yeah.
And Dustin's an L1 seminar staff, and
what's his last name?
Dustin Virgil.
Haven't met him, but I know the name.
Yeah. Just a good dude, just a super good dude. And he ended up selling it to another guy. We're all former Inferno guys, and so he ended up taking it over, letting the CrossFit affiliate expire, and merged it in with his other gym in San Luis Obispo called Headstrong. So it became Headstrong instead of Atascadero CrossFit. But the cool part is none of the the building never changed. The signage never changed. And I kept hitting him up, every couple of months. Hey, I would love to take over that. I don't know if it's a problem or whatever. Things are going really good. And he kept saying, nope, got big plans. And 3 months ago by, I'd shoot him another text. He said, nope, I'm going to keep plans. I said, okay, great. And come December, his big plans came to fruition, and he bought a big giant Globo gym next to a big grocery store and a retail center.
Wow. Now, is this Dustin or the?
No, this is the other guy.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah. And in the meantime, Dustin's been a member at our first gym up.
Okay. I got you. There we go. Yeah.
So he was moving out of the space, and me and Dustin had just been talking, and he'd be like, dude, it'd be really cool to reopen ACF. And so when he moved out, I nabbed up the building, and I said, Dustin, I got the building. With your blessing, can I rebuild ACF? And he said, yep. So he's super excited about it. The community is super excited to bring it back. And so that's how we came up with the tagline ACF Reborn. And we ended up naming the LLC ACF Reborn. It's kind of just a really cool story. And when the word got out, Dustin's phone was blowing up. Hey, I heard ACF's coming back. So,
okay.
So it's really, really kind of fun to take that legacy and that reputation that he built and honor it and make sure that I don't tarnish it. My friendship with him really means a lot to me. And the last thing I want to do is disappoint Dustin. I mean, it sounds cheesy, but it's a really cool story, and it makes it worth it,
So this gym that you're in right now, so this was the building. This was the same building that it's always been in.
Same building. Yep.
But so you only had to acquire the building, not buy the gym, right? Because that was Atascadero CrossFit was gone.
Correct. So
cool.
It was basically a blank slate. They took the floor, they took the equipment, all that was left was that mural that's sitting behind me,
Move to the side. Let's see it.
Yeah. So right there.
Ooh, look at that. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's really cool is it's just, it was a blank slate and reaffiliated. And once I got the blessing from CrossFit, we relaunched.
Okay. So now I got to figure this out. So you've got Ergo you've got that going nicely, you 3x revenue. And you said, it's not one of those sick or linear things where it's now at 90 grand a month, but we talked about this, entrepreneurship is always that series of a little bit forward, a couple of steps back, and then a big jump forward and so forth. So we're working in good shape there. You got it to a place where you were comfortable. Then you go and you're going to start location 2. How far away is it?
About 15 minutes.
Okay. So not too far.
It's right on the cusp of where people will drive to.
That's right. Yeah. So now so how does this work now? How are you going to split your time? How are you going to manage both locations? Are you going to share staff members? What's the plan to get this second one to the space where Ergo is?
Yeah. So what's really exciting is Greg has helped me build up my coaching staff at Ergo. It was just me and 2 original coaches. And so just followed the steps, and I no longer coach. An emergency, I'll step in and whatever. I'm just handling the operations and the marketing and the sales. So I do all the no sweats and, handle the staff. So purely management role. And so our staff is super excited about the new gym because we all know it. We all know, we see Dustin every morning, it's so they're really excited to split time, get more hours, more coaching. Maybe they're super excited about new equipment. I don't know. But
everyone is, yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's on the same wavelength, and they're really excited to coach here and coach there. I'll probably coach a little bit too, just to kind of get it rocking and rolling, but eventually it's just going to be, hey, I just want to do the no sweats for both gyms. And then I'll, bring on a general manager that does the sales and step out. And then location number 3, wherever that may be.
Okay. So sorry to interrupt here. I'm going to ask you about sales, knowing that you were in real estate. So we'll get back to that in a little bit. But what I really wanted to ask you about in that situation, so you're sharing some staff right away. Are memberships going to share as well?
No.
Okay.
No,
so
these are specifically going to be two separate companies. So that, if I ever, hey, I'm not interested in this one, I can sell it off as an asset.
Nice.
So they're not tied together.
Clever. I like it. Now with that model, are you going to start with 0 members, or what's your plan for the grand opening, and when's the date of this one?
I have 1 member.
Yeah.
So far, we're doing our founders club.
That was my next question. You beat me to it. Yep. Nice.
So, I started marketing probably 3 or 4 days ago, and the leads are just kind of rolling in, and
beautiful,
and calling them all, and I've got no sweats set up through the week. So it's going to happen. The Rogue truck should show up. It should leave Ohio on the 23rd. And that puts us, first week of April if we rush and put it all together, which, should only take a couple of days to get through all the cardboard. So we're looking first week of April.
Okay. So we're in good shape. So to listeners, Founders Club is a plug and play plan that Two Brain has for gyms to start, like, open on day 1 with members. And I think the record is like 94 or something like that. That might even have been beaten, but it was at 1.94. So gym opened on day 1 with 94 paying members, which is incredible, because I think when I opened, I think I had 6,000 square feet, and I think I had 8.
Yeah,
and it was rough.
It's stressful. Ergo's kind of funding a lot of it.
Yep.
But another like epiphany moment is Chris's book, Start a Gym, came out the day that I was meeting with the landlord.
Oh, hallelujah. Let it rain.
It showed up, and I'm like, okay, I don't need anything else.
Yeah. Okay. And listeners, if you want to take a peek I'll give you a tip. There are free resources. Go to startagym.com. You will find some free Founders Club resources you can download right now without even buying the book. And if you want to buy the book, I recommend you do it. You can do it on that site too. It's startagym.com. The Founders Club is a huge, huge deal, because your first goal when you open a gym is to get to break even. Second goal is profit, but break even first. And if you get members ahead of time, your stress will go way down. So tell me, like, have you got the whole Founders Club just lined up and ready to roll now?
Yeah, I'm just following it to the T. Greg has taught me, don't question it, don't overthink it, just execute.
Yep.
And so yeah, we have the Founders Club all ready to go. We set up the landing pages through GLM.
Yep.
And the marketing is fairly the same as the Two Brain marketing course. Just it's plug and play.
Okay. So this is cool. Are you doing anything like in the Founders Club? There are a couple of variations where you could include like t-shirts and things like that. Is there anything special that you're doing that's very like Atascadero for the Founders Club?
We have a really orange t-shirt.
Yeah.
As you can see, Atascadero's colors are orange and gray. And we just offering supplements and kickstart sessions.
Yep.
And then one thing I kind of changed was if you prepay for 3 months ahead of time, you get our nutrition challenge.
Okay, cool.
So it was just kind of like, how can we triple the income here? And,
get some money in the bank earlier. I get it. And what you're doing there is you're creating a valuable package. Chris has always been adamant that you don't discount your rates, because if you offer discounts at the beginning, you have to find that many more clients. But if you package some things together, like a free nutrition seminar, things like that, all of a sudden you can create like $500 of value to a client who can sign up on the spot, gets you some cash and get some members. And then the best part about this is that your Founders Club members become your best marketing tool, because then you use the Two Brain Affinity Marketing Guide, talk to them, get their friends and family, and go from there. So I'm sure Greg's talked to you about that too.
Yep, he sure has.
Yeah. Greg is checking all the boxes. I love it. So what are the main challenges to Atascadero right now? Is it just waiting for the trucks to come in and doing the renos, or is there anything else that in the startup phase is tough?
Yeah, it's I've been doing most of the work myself, and just with a couple of volunteers. I subbed out some electrical and some drywall work, but we built a no sweat intro room that wasn't here, and good place to do in bodies and things like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just the waiting game. I would have pushed the construction faster. It's kind of nice to be a little lax on the timing, but like, I want that equipment. I want to open. I want to start training.
You know what? You just go out there and get a couple of rocks and put them in there and start teaching classes to deadlift. It's been done, I think, in some places. Well, let me ask you this. So you just mentioned your no sweat intro room. I'm pumped about this. What have you learned at the other place doing no sweat intros and consultations? And how does that sync up with your experience selling, what I'm guessing are probably $1 million properties?
It is it's a different product. So instead of selling, $500 $1 million product, you're selling, $200 $1,000 stuff. But the core concept is exactly the same. It's listening, finding out what makes them tick, what they want, and then providing the solution to them. And the fundamentals of sales, when you do it this way, I say when you do it right, are exactly the same. So it wasn't hard for me to be like, oh, cool, I got to sell gym memberships now. Here, tell me more. And you keep digging deep. And then it's really not a salesy. It's not, you don't really have to close. It's like you already know and believe you have the answer to their problem. You just don't know what their problem is, or maybe they don't know what their problem is yet. So
that's the motivational interviewing, why is that important? Right.
Yeah. And it's been just a couple of shifts, couple of tweaks, managing, the expectations. And it hasn't been a very hard transition.
When you sold back in the day before you were doing the Two Brain stuff, and did you use a consultative process like that? Or did you just do what we all did back in the day in CrossFit? Just like, hey, come do friend, throw up and maybe sign up.
We did a couple of, a little bit, but that included like this horrible assault bike workout. And even before that, it was just like, hey, come try a free week.
Sure.
And, we all know if they come and maybe they do one or two, but then you never see them again.
Go do yoga for a free week. And then
it's, our onboarding has completely changed, and it continues to change and get better and better and better. And as far as I know, we're the only gym that actually has onboarding. And
it's a market separator, big time.
Yeah.
And we we know, like with data at Two Brain, that the better job you do at onboarding in the first 90 days, the longer that client will stay with you, right? You might get the occasional person who still drop off, that happens, but the more effort you put into the first 90 days, the longer your length of engagement, which is one of those huge metrics, leg, as we call it, combine that with ARM, average revenue per member, and that's revenue, right? So that's what we're looking at. How fast do you think that you can get this gym spun up to where you want it? That's a huge question, because the idea, Chris and I have talked about this all the time. Once you have entrepreneurial experience, and especially as a gym owner, you should be able to replicate that success at another location faster than the first time. But some people don't have that because they get overwhelmed and get pulled in two directions and so forth. So how do you avoid that? And how fast can you get this spun up?
I think you avoid that with your systems and your SOPs. And that is one thing that I wish I had spent more time in the beginning, is finalizing my SOPs and this, that, because they're still not done all the way. But you have to systemize, and then once it's systemized, you can leverage it. You can teach it to a staff, and then there's that that whole transition period of like, they can't do it as good as me, until you realize these people are better than you at a lot of things. So like my coaches, they're way better coaching. I have no business coaching. Right.
It's a good feeling, right?
The girl who does our social media, our Joy girl, she is way better at social media and all sorts of stuff. She's our party planner. You don't want me planning the parties. She basically ran our whole intramural open, and everybody's like, this was so great. I'm like, that's Marley. I had, I just write her checks. She did it all. Give her all the praise. And just finding the right staff and systemizing it. And then you can feel comfortable spending time elsewhere. And they've made a couple comments that were like, you're not here anymore. I'm like, I know, I'm doing floors, but it's allowed me to come here and spend time in the new gym launching that. It's
going to be music to Chris Cooper's ears, because he's a systems guy. He loves that stuff. And I just actually spoke to another gym owner this morning, Dane McCarthy in New York. He's another Two Brain guy. He was saying that getting systems in place was one of the most important things that he did at his gym. So I'll ask you this, is Greg going to grind you to get that playbook done and get everything finished?
It comes back. Yeah. Like, hey, finish this SOP. And it's not the systems that's the hard part. It's the documenting the system.
Oh, I know, right? Because you could just do it in the time that you would take to write it down. It's a pain in the ass,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, but spending the 3 or 4 times longer the first couple of times to do it, to document it, is well worth it. Well worth
I
it,
think
because
that's what a lot of people missed. Yeah. And I think that's what people missed back in the day, is like a lot of gym owners in the early days were racing to get that second location. They would just open it without a single system or a playbook or anything like that. No policies, no procedures. You know, we were taking money with the envelope on the wall and stuff like that, right? That doesn't replicate. But then you look at a business like McDonald's, they've replicated that with a rubber stamp all around the world because they have those systems and procedures. And whether or not they're serving healthy food doesn't matter. They know how to create a system like nobody's business. And that was my first job out of high school, right? So the future is looking bright at Atascadero. Ergo, how much time are you going to plan to spend there now? So is it going to be just like check in once in a while? You got a manager there?
I think probably maybe like a 40-60 split.
Okay.
You know, that's my baby. That's, you know, it's 3 minutes from my house. So yeah, that's where I have my real estate office, you know. it's in the back of the gym. So
you still do some selling?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Nice. Right on.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this now. Someone who's thinking about doing that second location, what would you advise them? What can you tell them that, like, the thing that you're sure about that would help them out?
Make sure you have a lot more reserves than you think you need. You know, because you can never estimate every little thing.
Are we talking cash or energy? Or both?
Cash and energy. Yeah, actually both, because it's going to be harder than you think it will be. And you have to have a support system, because I tell you what, there's many a days I've left this place, I've made a horrible mistake. This is gonna, you have these highs and lows, and then the rent comes due and you're like, okay, this was a mistake. I still have 0 members. Mm-hmm. So you're going to go through these waves. So I'd say have a support system and have extra cash, and make sure your SOPs are done. Make sure, your first gym can run without you. Make sure that it can survive a vacation, like go on vacation and test it.
Yeah. Chris has talked about that. That's a big one. I think a lot of people, they try to open that second gym with the other one just, kind of teetering on that plate, and then they step away and the plate falls, as opposed to getting it like a surplus. We'll call it, like you said, a surplus of profitability and stability at that other gym, where this top is going to keep spinning while you get the other one moving. Let me ask you this. If you go for gym 3, would you start a new one, or would you look at buying an existing?
I consider both. I think there's pros and cons to each one. I think when you buy an existing gym, like we did the first time, you have revenue coming in. Like you got some problems. Maybe you got to deal with junky equipment or just things that aren't the way you want it. But when you start fresh, you can do it the right way from the start, with no revenue. So it kind of goes both ways. Is it easier to fix bad habits or fix, we had a big turnover when things started to change, because the members aren't used to it. They're like, no, it's been this way forever. Like, we don't want coaching. We don't want this and that. We don't, what now you're giving us levels? Like, no. Yeah. So there's a kickback when you start to change things. But then again, having 0 members from the start with a bunch of bills it just depends which one feels better at the time. I guess there's pros and cons.
So you're not on either side. You did, like a good business person, would evaluate both of them at the time. Because I know there are some people that are adamant about, I would only start another gym, and other people are like, I would only buy another gym. I talked to a guy in Utah who's bought 6 of them, and he buys existing ones, and they have to be, I believe he said he likes unprofitable ones because he turns them around fast, which is fascinating and scary for me, but that's how he rolls. Chris Cooper, on the other hand, prefers, if he was going to do a second gym, he would prefer to start from scratch or buy an audience of a gym and probably get rid of just about, a lot of the policies and procedures and so forth. So he'd be looking to buy that audience, which is like the people that are listening to that gym speak. So it's interesting. I'm going to be curious when you get the gym 3, what you'll end up doing.
Okay, maybe you'll have me back on.
I would
Yeah.
love to. I want to thank you so much for being here today, Mike. I'm going to let you get back to laying your flooring there, and wish you all the best of luck in this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was Mike Turnquist on Two Brain Radio. I'm your host, Mike Workington. For more shows like this and advice from Two Brain founder Chris Cooper, please subscribe for more episodes. And if you're on YouTube, please hammer that like button too right now. Do it with my thanks.